The war of words and sentiment continues to rage across internet forums and YouTube comment sections as everyone fails to settle the debate of where art raiders should sit within a realm of player versus experience. Until now. Because strap in, I mean you too Embark, because I finally have the answer this game needs. I'll cover why the current setup satisfies neither PvE or PvE players, along with how a PvE only mode could work and why I think this is the way forward for this game. So let's talk about it. So yeah, you just heard it. Art Raiders needs a separate PvE mode. I didn't feel like this for a little while. It took me, until now to firmly come to this conclusion. But Art Raiders does need a separate PvE mode. And the reason is the current situation where there isn't one, it just doesn't satisfy anybody. They're attempting to please everybody, and instead what they're doing is it's a wholly unsatisfactory situation. It doesn't satisfy the PvE players, because if you're a true PvE player, and what I'm going to refer to for the rest of this video is a friendly player or a PvE player, that's somebody who literally doesn't want any hostile player-on-player action. Friendly players, right? They want the PvE lobby. So in this game, if you're a friendly player, my experience has been you load in and you can go like 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 raids without having a hostile human player come and they would then determine as ratting, because essentially they're just so used to not getting shot. They get shot by a player, they're not used to it, and they determine it to be a negative characteristic, like an improper way to play the game. It doesn't feel good, whether that's right or wrong. Essentially, it doesn't feel good. The PvE players or the friendly players, they don't like it, and I get it, because it totally goes against like the rub of the green. It's not what you're expecting in a game. You've been sold this, oh, you're in a friendly PvE sort of environment, then out of the blue, your guard's down and you're just getting shot. You're used to walking around, tra-la-la-la-la, all friendly, not having to worry about aggressive players. So PvE players, friendly players, they're not satisfied with it, really. And then in terms of your PvP players, or people who just want a more mixed environment, who either want lots of PvP or some PvP, like myself, I want a mixed lobby. I just want to go into a game and not know what I'm going to get. Well, it doesn't satisfy me either, because either you shoot people and then you're just constantly thrown in with lots of PvP, and then it just becomes an absolute nightmare doing your raids or doing the trials or trying to do any quests and stuff. And the only way to get around that is to not fight people, but then you quite quickly find yourself in the friendly lobbies. And once you're in a friendly lobby, like I say, the ratio of getting attacked, it's so low, it's almost a PvE environment. And if you're somebody who doesn't want a PvE environment, it's just dull. It's boring. I mean, everyone's going to play this game at their own pace. Everyone's got their own skill level and what they're seeking to get out of this game. But for me personally, I feel like the Ark are a brilliant challenge. They're a fantastic challenge to figure out, but they are kind of simple, and once you've figured them out, they're not too tricky. And a lot of people have complained about how boring the Firefly and the Comet have been. Personally, I think the addition of these has been good, because I think like the swarm tactics used by some of these Ark, where they all come gang up on you at once, it's terrifying, and it presents like another threat to sort of figure out and conquer. As somebody who's here saying that the PvE challenge isn't all that difficult, but the current setup isn't good. It isn't good at all. I've covered it in videos before, but if I want to get out of a friendly lobby, I essentially have to manipulate my experience. I've got two options. I can either just go shooting these, perceived friendly players like some sort of psychopath who doesn't care about their game experience, or I can do, some of this ethical mischief that I've sort of referred to, where you're trying to attack players or even down players, but without, fully ruining their game, and then you're going through this whole faff just to get into a bit of a riskier environment. It's a bit stupid. And the reason behind all this, what creates this, it's the aggression-based matchmaking is too strong. It's just far, far, far too strong. Let's say you've got a scale, a big long line, and at one end you've got friendly lobbies, and at the other end you've got pure PvP lobbies. Now, along this line, currently, you walk from friendly, you get halfway into no man's land, and then there's a tiny, tiny little step where if you shoot somebody by accident, or you defend yourself, or you kill a few people, you find yourself in aggressive PvP lobbies. And then that's it, you're in the mixer. And then you'll be in the mixer until you take a step back the other way, and then you're in completely friendly lobbies again. It's like there's hardly any middle ground, there's hardly any mixy lobbies. The stuff I like to play, and I'm sure I'm not the only one here, but it's essentially just binary lobbies, and the journey to getting between the two is just far too quick. It needs to be a much slower process getting between friendly lobbies and aggressive lobbies, and then also the rate at which they throw the the PvP or like pure kill on site players in. as somebody who doesn't want to go into a game and know exactly what's going to happen, let me just describe like the perfect scenario here for me. A mixed lobby should be like 10% of the time I go in and it's like almost everybody's friendly. Like you don't encounter any PvP players at all. 10% of the time you go in and like literally everybody's a psychopath. You can't talk to anybody. They all just want to shoot you. Every person you see, like just bullets are flying. It's carnage, murder. And then 80% of the time you're going in and let's say most of the people in the lobby are friendly, but like there's a good handful of like murderous raiders in there who are just looking to take all your stuff and get out. And it's not to the level where you're constantly shooting everybody and you're constantly in fights, but it needs to be of a level where you go in and you can cooperate with people and you can work with people and you can chat, but you can't take it for granted that people are friendly, and you have to be used to the fact that you might have to defend yourself or even attack somebody else preemptively because you know just from experience that they're a dodgy player. That's the kind of thing I'm seeking from this game, and what I'm about to suggest in having separate PvP and PvE situations, separate lobbies, will allow for that, because once you take the friendly lobbies out the equation, what you've got left is essentially the standard then just becomes the mixed lobbies, and there can be a small number of pure PvP lobbies, like I say, for those absolute psychopaths who for some reason are fed up of playing Call of Duty or whatever and they decided just want to do all the PvP and Arc Raiders, each to their own. So how would this work? So the reason this hasn't been done by the developers is because there's a practical restriction on it. And my initial sort of apprehension, my initial sort of delay at getting on board with having a PvE mode for this game is that I thought it was going to dwindle the player base. But as we've seen, the player base for this game is falling, and it's falling quite rapidly at this stage as people start getting bored of the game. That's a different video. I'm going to talk about that probably in my next video. But essentially, the realization is if you've got a pure PvE player, a pure friendly player, they don't want the PvP, and so they're leaving the game at this point. That's what's happening. That's what's happening to a lot of people anyway. Let's just accept that and create the PvE lobby for the people who don't want any PvP, and then just leave the rest of the game for the people who accept there's going to be a bit of PvP. Right, I'm waffling here a bit. So what's the practicalities of how a PvE only mode would look? So we've got Speranza, deep underground, your safety where everybody goes then to the top side into the Rust Belt to go for their raids and seek their resources and level up and stuff. What I'm suggesting is we have the PvE mode, which would be called Dreamside. It's a bit like the Matrix or the training algorithm in the Matrix, you know. So you plug in. The truth is, you're never leaving the safety of Speranza, but it's like a training program that's developed to help you prepare and get used to playing the game and take on Ark and get ready for battle and get more sturdy and ferocious to go topside and take on Ark and take on players. And so when you enter this Dreamside, you've got your it's not a Dreamside account, but essentially, you know, from within Speranza, you'd launch into Dreamside, the friendly only mode. And the biggest problem with having a PvE and a PvP mode, really, is transferring the resources between the two. Now, you can't do that, bottom line, is you can't go into friendly only lobbies, level everything up, collect all the resources, get all the good guns and stuff, get your character traits all leveled up, and then go into gunfights with people who've leveled up the hard way. That's not fair. That's not cricket. So when you go into your Dreamside account, you go into your PvE, your friendly lobbies, any progress you have in your friendly lobbies, they stay there. So you can go in there, have your raids with all your other friendly players, train against the Ark, practice going into these worlds and the simulated worlds. And, and I think a bonus of this is the scope. I don't think Embark have particularly got the resources, but if they were to pull the socks up, there's the potential that Embark could introduce greater Ark interaction in the dream world. So just as, you know, Helldivers is pure player versus experience, they have these crazy epic battles, a little bit like with the Queen and Matriarch battles are sort of touching on, and we're getting a new large arc coming fairly shortly, but those kind of things, they can be more the norm for people who want that sort of thing. And then for the rest of the players, you've got the current situation, but you're taking out all the purely PvE players, all the friendly players, they're all gone, because anybody going into this other world, the real top side, the real Rust Belt, you appreciate more of the dangers that are ahead, the dangers afoot. And there's not this whole culture of you can't shoot people, it's dishonorable to shoot people, and if you shoot people in a computer game, you're a horrible human being, and you know, you'd clearly like murder children in real life. Ridiculous talk, quite frankly, but it'd leave the rest of the people to just enjoy more of that threat and that danger that an extraction shooter sort of traditionally offers. And I think one of the additional bonuses of this is the people who play friendly lobbies only. So for me, I've already said I think it's, for me, at this stage, it's too easy and it's accelerating the game a bit too quick. But the people who want that sort of stuff, they're happy in those environments, those lobbies, and plodding along with that stuff. And that's great. But then the people who want the mixed stuff, where there's more threat, it slows everything down. All your progression in game is all slowed down when you've got the threat of other humans trying to take all your stuff and shoot you. It's hard. It's much harder than just running around and grabbing what you want like you're in a supermarket and then heading back home. But anyway, that is my solution. That's my reasoning behind it. I don't think it's too complicated, and I'd be interested to hear from anybody who thinks that there's an issue with what I'm suggesting here. Although it's not complicated, it took me a little while to sort of come to the realization that that's where this game needs to be, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Certainly if anybody disagrees with this, and if there's any way anyone at Embark could ever hear this point of view and think, oh, do you know what, actually, yeah, maybe this is something we just need to get a grip on. Anyway, let me know what you think. I think we need a dedicated player versus experience mode. Make it happen. Bring us the dream side. We need some steps to stop the players leaving this game. And if you want to hear a little bit more about my thoughts on that, I've got another video on that one. But for now, I'm done. I'll catch you another time. Bye bye.